I think I was recording before. Oh well. That's fine. You excited, Dad?
Yeah.
This will be pretty cool.
You know,
I'm interested to see how many other people are there going to be.
Yeah. I wonder if they're doing them all separate or everybody's going to be on at the same time.
I'd imagine all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they've done similar stuff
Really?
before that I've seen where they show like a Zoom grid
Oh,
of people. So, but we'll just wait and see. All right, they're letting us in. Let's see. I can't get in with you here. Oh, you're kind of fading out. That's all right. Nope. Okay, we'll just do you.
Do you want me to turn the lights on?
Nope, that's fine.
why doesn't it work?
It's because of the background. All right,
Okay,
we're joining now.
How about that?
Oh, now I can't see the background. I can't see the camera, so I would just turn it off. Yep. Oh, cool. They're already recording it for us here.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Oh. They want us to unmute. We're going to stay muted for a minute. You see Tim Wakefield? We can see Tim, kind of. Good.
Oh, yeah.
How cool. This is so exciting.
You talk to.
Hey, they'll probably say something. That happened to me yesterday, too. The mask just blew out. Oh, well. Sorry.
I could move this to show both of you, but I don't think
That's fine. Looks like Tim has a nice house.
Is it muted?
Ours is, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So,
Which one? That's him right there?
yep.
Very cool. So these are all other people that won. That's so cool.
Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting momentarily. Just want to ask that you guys please make sure all your devices are on mute, and we'll start going in about a couple minutes.
So you're recording it too on your computer? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's his jersey say?
Mm-hmm.
The Indians?
Almost looks like a Cardinals jersey.
Yeah. I think you look the coolest, Dad. Everybody else looks boring. I just need to hook this medication into your IV super quickly. Just do it this way. There you go. That's him. Is that him, Dad?
Yeah.
That's him. Okay.
Do your best to keep your arms straight, okay, so that the IV pump doesn't beep. If you can straighten out your arm as much as you can.
There you go. There we go. Sit you back up. Hey,
They probably got you muted.
Tim?
Hey, they probably got you muted.
Oh, okay.
You're doing multiple.
Oh, sorry.
Find your pillow. Just so it's not hitting his head.
All right, it appears that we have all of our winners here. So first off, I want to say, let me take myself off the camera. I mean, on camera.
It's fine.
All right. My name is Jay Holland. I want to congratulate each and every last one of you guys for being selected. You guys all had some amazing stories that we were able to review and were inspired by. And for that, we say congratulations and wish you all a happy early Father's Day. We have Adam Pellerin here of Nesson and Red Sox Hall of Famer Tim Wakefield himself. This will be an open flowing conversation in which we ask that everyone please remain on mute. We'll make sure that we highlight some of you all so you guys can ask your own personal questions. And then there are some questions that you guys had previously submitted that we will ask on our own. All right? If you have any questions, please feel free to direct them to me in the chat. All right? Thank you. And Adam and Tim, it's on you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Happy Father's Day weekend. Excuse Wake and I if we're a little blurry-eyed. Red Sox had a fun game last night against the Royals. As we all know, we did the post-game show. Unfortunately, Red Sox came up short, but it's been a great season so far. And I'll just begin by echoing some of Jay's comments and how inspiring the stories and the submissions were. And I really admire all of you for the different challenges that you've all faced, whether it's with some of the challenges that you personally faced or with some of your family members. So I just wanted to say that right off the top. But let's have some fun and talk some baseball this morning. And
Yes.
Wake, if you want, do you want to start off by saying anything yourself, or do you want to just get right into it?
I just wanted to echo what you said, Adam. It's like happy early Father's Day. I actually had a buddy of mine just texted me something about Father's Day. It's easy to be a father, but it's more importantly how to be a dad. You know, a dad is special, and it really hit home for me this morning. Both of my kids and my wife are headed to my father-in-law's to celebrate Father's Day with him, and I'm looking forward to celebrating Father's Day with my family tomorrow after the game.
No doubt about that. Looking forward to it. And, Wake, I speaking of the game this weekend and this Red Sox team, 42-28 on the year. I know they came up short last night. But overall, I guess we'll just start off by getting your impressions of the 2021 Red Sox so far.
Yeah, I like where they are, even though they had some chances last night. They just couldn't get that one big hit to blow it wide open. But, I think their pitching is getting better. I mean, they were really good early in the year. They kind of hit a hiccup the last couple of weeks. But I feel like they are doing a fantastic job offensively, defensively, and it's a fun team to watch. It reminds me a lot of the 13 team and the 18 team, especially with Alex Cora behind the helm. He really gets the most out of all the guys on that club for sure.
Yeah, I got to say, too, you mentioned the 2013 team, and I think we all remember all the walk-offs they had that year, right?
Yes.
How brilliant that team was, and I think that's why this edition of the Red Sox reminds us of the 2013 team. I mean, this team right now has 24 comeback wins, which is the most in Major League Baseball. They lead Major League Baseball in 2-out RBI. All of these sort of clutch statistics, they're right on top of the mountain there. What do you attribute that to?
I think a lot of it comes from, Alex Cora. Obviously, I've seen that team, the 2018 team especially, that they never gave up. No matter if they were losing by 4, they played hard through the last out of every single game, and they came from behind a couple times too. But it's just the resilience of what it means to be in Boston as well, right? It's and you go back to the 13 team, okay? So after the marathon bombings, David Ortiz comes out and says, "This is our effing city," and it showed how strong Bostonians really are, and they weren't going to take any crap. And it's kind of been an image of that team that I remember in 13, and it's kind of carried over for the last 7 or 8 years.
What was your favorite moment of the season so far? If you could pinpoint any, I know there's been a lot of great moments with the team already, but is there anything that stands out to you, or maybe a storyline that stands out to you?
I think, the biggest storyline for me is when Fenway Park opened up to 100% capacity. I hear from the guys, a lot of guys that hadn't been here, this is their first year, or were around last year, how miserable the 2020 season was because of COVID. And now we're finally coming through the tunnel, and we got 100% capacity. Those guys, I always tell people, based on my experience, the Fenway faithful is always your 26th man on that team, right? It does make a difference when you're playing in front of 38,000. And these guys, I hear in stories, the first time being in Fenway, they realize how special Boston and Fenway Park really is.
It is Father's Day weekend, and I know that you and I, Wake, and along with Jim and I believe Jonathan Papelbon was on the show on Friday. We talked about Father's Day and what our fathers meant to us, and how influential they were in our lives, and how we try to do the same for our kids. And Tim Pratt has a question, and I'll be delivering these questions to you, and all of you will have an opportunity to ask. But at what age did you become interested in playing Major League Baseball? When did you want to become a big leaguer?
Wow, probably when I was 5. I don't remember, but my parents always told me that I was always outside with the wiffle ball bat, hitting the ball over the house and running around to the other side and hitting it back over to the front yard. And it was something that I was very passionate in. And my dad, played baseball late in life, and then he got into softball. So I was always around either a softball field or a baseball field with him, and just fell in love with it. And then growing up, the closest team we had to root for was the Atlanta Braves. And when I was a teenager, it was, I'd come home and watch the Atlanta Braves, and then WGN came in. So I was watching the Cubbies at the same time, because they had the afternoon game. So I'd come home from school and watch the Cubbies, and then later on at night watch TBS and watch the Atlanta Braves. So from a very young age, I was a huge baseball fan, and I just remember just playing catch with Dad in the backyard and doing all the fun things that kids do with their father.
It's funny. It's like, I think everybody around here, we watched the Red Sox and we watched the Braves, right? Because they were on TBS. And I think for a lot of us, those were our favorite teams growing up, because we had seen the Braves so much.
Exactly.
But you had also mentioned something else when we were talking about your dad, and he's the one that taught you how to throw knuckleball. Yeah,
he did. We would. My dad was very good to me as far as that is concerned. He coached me at a young age until I was 12, and then, he kind of stepped away and allowed me to become a teenager and get coached by other people. But the funny story is I learned a knuckleball from my dad only because it was his way of tiring me out. He'd come home from work, and I'd want to play catch, and, he would throw knuckleballs to me, and I would miss them and have to run to the other side of the yard and pick it up. And I think that was his way of tiring me out so he could get back inside and have dinner and a beer really quickly.
It's funny. So, we all remember you and the great things that you did for the Red Sox, but, you came over from the Pirates, and you not only, pitched for the Pirates, but you had playoff experience with the Pirates as well. How much did that experience help you, and really, you probably didn't know it at the time, but set you up for success in playing in a market like Boston?
Yeah, you're right, Adam. I didn't know it at the time. And, I was 26 years old. I get called up to the big leagues for the first time in late July, and went on this unbelievable run with the Pirates where I was 8-1 and then got into the postseason. And we're playing the Braves, and I'm just like, for me, it's like I'm almost trying to survive. I'm first time in the big leagues, I've got like a month and a half experience, 2 months experience, and we get to postseason in October. And I'm pitching against the team I grew up watching, the Atlanta Braves, in the NLCS, and we're down 2-0. I end up pitching games 3 and then game 6, and pitched very, very well. But I look back on it now, and like you said, the experience of playing in front of packed houses in Atlanta and in Pittsburgh, both places really set me up to what it was going to be like here in Boston.
You talked about the knuckleball and how your dad had taught you, and obviously you weren't a knuckleball pitcher when you first got into professional baseball. How I guess how difficult. I mean, it's obviously difficult. Not a lot of people do it. But
No.
is it something that you sort of developed right away and it just kind of clicked, or did it take a lot of work and time?
Well, the story is, I was actually drafted as a position player. I was a first baseman in college and got drafted by the Pirates. Spent about a year and a half in the minor leagues, and I couldn't hit anymore. You put a wood bat in my hand, and I was finished. Plus, everybody was throwing way harder than they were at a D2 school, right? So I learned the knuckleball from my dad, and I happened to be just warming up before a game. I was in extended spring in 1989, I think it was, and my manager walked behind me while I was throwing knuckleballs with this other first baseman. He's like, "Hey, I didn't know you could do that." And I go, "Well, I pitched a little bit in high school. It's no big deal." He goes, "Go over to the bullpen mound and show the pitching coach." So I did it. Went over there. I knew how to wind up and all that other stuff, and nothing else was said. And towards the end of the season, the organization has their yearly meetings, and they go through every single guy on the minor league, on all the whole minor leagues, and they got to my name, and everybody said, "He's not panning out. Let's let him go." And my manager, his name is Woody Heike. He is still with the Pirate organization as a coach. He's 84, 85 years old. He's still out there on the field every single day. Spoke up on my behalf and said, "Hey, listen, I saw something pretty special in this kid. Before we let him go, let's bring him to instructional league and turn him into a pitcher." 2.5 years later, I'm in the big leagues with the Pirates pitching against the Atlanta Braves in the postseason.
Wow.
I'm very thankful for that guy.
Yeah, and the fact that he's still in the game of baseball.
He's still around. I know, it's unbelievable.
Amazing. Again, we mentioned how rare the knuckleball is, right? And I know that you looked at Phil Necro and some of the other predecessors.
Yeah.
Is there anybody now? I mean, I'm trying to think. I knew that there were a couple in the Red Sox organization. Obviously, Stephen Wright was here, Charlie Zink,
Right.
Years back. I mean, have you heard about any sort of up-and-coming knuckleballers? This is a question from Dan Tower. Is there anybody
Yeah,
around?
I mean, Stephen Wright signed with Pittsburgh. It's ironic that I leave Pittsburgh to come to Boston. I mentor him for the Red Sox, and now he signs a minor league deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's doing well. I speak to him periodically. And again, there's another kid. I just got a phone call from the San Diego Padres organization, and it said they had a kid that throws a pretty wicked knuckleball. I saw some videos of it. I'm going to be having a Zoom call with the organization on Monday to try to talk to him and kind of mentor him via Zoom and see where it takes him. But there's guys out there that know how to throw a knuckleball. It's just a matter of if they're willing to jump on it full boat.
Well, you don't have to worry about spin rate with the knuckleball,
No,
right?
no.
That's the big conversation.
And we don't want spider tack on our fingertips because the ball will never come off the fingers.
Wait, let's fast forward, into the 2003-2004 years with the Red Sox. I would say, personally, as a fan growing up in Boston, in the 90s, the fact that the Red Sox even made the playoffs, right? The fact that the shortened season, you guys won the division, you got there, was great in and of itself. And then you get to see the Yankees at the end of the decade, the great comeback against the Indians. But I think things really started to heat up, obviously, in 2003 and 2004. What was it like being a part of the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry at that time?
It was special. I had always heard about the rivalry between Boston and New York and never really thought much of it. I get here in 95 and see what it's all about. And it wasn't as heated as it was in the 2000, but when I got here in 95, you could feel the tension from across the field, right? And then it kind of died down. And then from like the late 90s, when Jeter and those guys started coming in, and then it was Tech and me, and it takes about 10 guys that play against each other, that's on the same team for, about 10 years, that rivalry starts to heat up. And, by late 1999 to 2000, the battle started to pick up. The rivalry started to heat up a little bit. And it was so much fun to be a part of, because anytime we went into New York or New York came to us, it could have been a game in April. It was a playoff atmosphere that we felt as players. There was an electricity in the air that was unmatched any other place I've ever been a part of. And it was so exciting that to feed off the energy from the fans, whether it was in New York or Boston, and then the hatred. It wasn't really hatred. It's just, was that rivalry that it's just, you want to beat those guys so bad because the fans wanted it as much as we did.
Yeah, and 03, obviously, that team was great. And, and a lot of people even say that 03 team was better than the 04 team. I mean, what's your take?
I have to agree with that. I mean, even though 04 was a really, really good team, that 03 team was just a hair better. And it was unfortunate how it all came down. But, we had, it was, obviously I gave up the homer to Aaron Boone, and I didn't think I was going to be in a Red Sox uniform the following year. And thankfully, if it wasn't for the writers' dinner that January, where I got back and realized that, it really wasn't my fault, and the fans forgave me for that, was I able to really forget about the past and move forward into 04. And what a special year 04 was for all of us. It's people always ask me all the time, what's your favorite memory from the 04 World Series? And that I honestly have to tell you that it was being able to share that victory with generations and generations and generations of Red Sox fans like we have on our Zoom call today. It really was amazing for all of us to hear stories of, like, hey, my grandfather was a fan, and he didn't make it through till 04, but we went to the cemetery and laid a pennant or a jacket or a hat or something. Those stories that I hear to this day, really get me excited about what happened in 2004. And now that we won 4 championships, it's still, to me, I'll never forget about it the rest of my life.
All right, well, we're going to start to get to some questions from some of you. I mean, we've been talking a lot, so so let's open it up to our first dad on the call.
All right.
That'll be from Daryl. Daryl has a question.
Do you want to read the questions, or you want me to?
You.
You want me to read them? Okay.
Oh,
Daryl is he on mute?
yeah.
Yeah, clearly it's my first time using Zoom.
There you are.
You think after a year we'd be able to figure this out? No, my first question is, I know that you've obviously had a lot of team success, but what is the one thing you're proud of as far as your own individual accomplishments throughout your career?
Yeah, probably winning the Roberto Clemente Award in 2010. I was nominated for it 8 times, and it's not something that I was going for, but
Oh, Wake got muted, I think.
The moderator just muted everyone.
He's just trying to make me feel better for being on.
sorry. All right, I'll go back. So, the Roberto Clemente Award in 2010 that I won was pretty special to me, because I feel like, the way I was raised is like, yeah, your on the field stuff is very important, but your legacy is built on the stuff that you do off the field, and I really took that to heart. Growing up as a kid, I was always involved in something philanthropic, and when I got to the Red Sox, I jumped feet first into the relationship that the Red Sox had with the Jimmy Fund, and I created a relationship with the Franciscan Hospital for Children, and I just felt like it was important. I was lucky enough to be where I was and had the platform that I had, and I wanted to give back not only to the community that I grew up in, but also the community that supported me here in Boston. So I'm very proud of that award, for sure.
All right, thanks, Daryl, very much. We'll go to
Thanks, Daryl.
Mark Albert now.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, Mark.
Tim, who was your favorite teammate and why?
Oh, that's a good one. I had a lot of favorite teammates. Mirabelli comes to mind right away because he was such a special guy to be able to catch me. And we built this relationship for probably, I think it was 8 years that we were together. His job wasn't easy. He only played once a week when I was starting, and he made the best. He really worked his tail off to learn how to catch the knuckleball for sure. But that whole group with Mirabelli and Tech, Mike Timlin, Kurt Schilling, those guys were all in my era. You know, we were all around the same age. So we like to do a lot of things together. Mike Stanley is another guy who I'm still friends with in the off season. We try to get together and play golf. Mike Timlin and I always try to go on a hunting trip every year, and just we still communicate and we're still friends. So it's hard to pick just one, but and Millar is another one. Well, I got to tell the story about Millar. Millar was one of those guys that was always upbeat, and in 2004, after Game 3, after we got killed in Game 3, everybody was miserable going home. It's like, here we go again. We're not going to win anything. And we get to the park for Game 4 in 2004, and there's Millar going, hey, guys, don't let us win tonight. Just don't let us win tonight. We win tonight. We got so-and-so. And then Game 6 and 7 was Pedro and Schilling. And he was right. I mean, our attitude changed right away. So Millar was a big factor in us winning the 2004 World Series. You got to give credit where credit's due, right, Adam?
Yeah, no question about that. I was just thinking of Jack Daniels as well. That came to mind.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't. I'm just spitballing there. It's funny though. You mentioned Mirabelli. It's like just to give you an idea of what Wake meant to the Red Sox organization. How often is it that a player is traded back to the Red Sox and they get a state police escort to Fenway Park?
Yeah, incredible. I'll tell you a funny story about that day. Right, so I get to the ballpark and Tito comes to me and says, "Hey, your boy Mirabelli's coming back. I don't know if he's going to make it here for the game, but he's on his way back." And I'm like, great. So I go through my routine. He's still not there. So Veritek, who hasn't caught me in a while, is going to catch me that night because Doug's had not made it back. So he and I go to the bullpen, go through my warm-up session. We're walking back in, get to the dugout, turn the corner, and here's Doug fully dressed, mask and everything's on, walking down the tunnel, walking towards the dugout. We high-five and hug each other. Like, all right, he has not caught one single pitch of mine yet. He didn't warm me up in the bullpen. We didn't do it in the cage down below. We run on the field. We're playing the Yankees that night. We run on the field. We have a 1-2-3 inning. We come off the field. I see him run back to the clubhouse, and he comes back. I said, "Where were you going? Did you have to go to the bathroom, son?" He goes, "No, I forgot to put my cup on."
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know how he did it. Because obviously, as great as Tech was, it's still he still needed another guy that special. I mean, it's a specialist, right? I mean, they're a specialist.
He was a specialist, and he worked hard with our catching instructor Gary Tuck. I can remember, pregame, before batting practice, him and Tech would always go down there and go through their drills, and he would be catching knuckleballs. So he had a training glove. The training infielders gloves that are like really flat. He had a training glove that was no bigger than the size of his hand. He was catching balls from a machine. They set it up to throw knuckleballs, learning how to pinpoint it right into that pocket to catch it clean every single time. He was really good at it.
Yeah, no question about that. Let's go to Ryan now. Ryan has a question for you.
Hey, Tim. So my question would be, can you explain your routine prior to the game? Is it different than pitchers? Being a high school baseball coach myself, I'm trying to get guys in the routine, but obviously with, your knuckleball and everything like that, does your routine change?
I had a routine just like how I went about warming up. My routine when I got to the park, I was a crossword guy. I grabbed the USA Today crossword and made sure that my mind was clear. I didn't want to go to the ballpark so early and start grinding and thinking about what was going to happen 2 or 3 hours down the road, right? Because I felt like mentally I was going to get exhausted before the game even started. So I tried not to have that get wasted at all. So and then I would always go out for batting practice because I didn't want to sit inside and start thinking about that stuff. So I would be around my teammates and just talk normal, like it's a normal day. And I really wouldn't start concentrating until I walked out of the clubhouse onto the field and started walking to the bullpen. Then I really started mentally thinking about what I was going to do that night and how I was going to approach the game. And then I just had a normal routine throwing wise. I would, I think it was 2 fastballs to my arm side, 2 fastballs to my glove side, throw like 3 or 4 breaking balls till I got the feel of it. This is all out of the windup. And then I would throw knuckleballs till I felt comfortable and felt where my release point was. And then I'd do the same routine out of the stretch until I felt comfortable. And then I would simulate like the first batter. I would throw maybe 5-6 pitches to the first batter out of the windup, and then I would shut it down and then go into the clubhouse and get ready for the game.
Good question, Ryan. Thanks very much. We'll go to Steven now. Steve.
Hi, Tim. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
My pleasure.
My goal is to tour the Green Monster. I've always, every time I go, I see it. So I have kind of a 2-part question. Have you been behind the wall, and have you signed the wall?
I have. I've been lucky enough, obviously, being there for as long as I was. I've been inside it. It's gotten a lot cleaner since the first time I was in it. But, you got to. It's a special place. It's like hallowed grounds. It's you go inside the Green Monster, and I signed it. I can't remember what year it was. Maybe 98, 99, somewhere around there. I finally got a chance to go in there. But it's a pretty cool place. And the 2 guys that do the scoreboard in there, it's a pretty special job. What a view you get from inside the Green Monster, staring at the little peepholes or the camera well when the camera's in there. It's a pretty awesome place.
Manny's familiar with that wall.
Manny's very familiar with that wall. Yes, he is.
All right, let's go. Let's move on to Tim. Tim has a question. Tim Pratt. Tim,
Hi, Tim.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
Good, and you?
I'm
I'm
great,
just
thank you.
wondering, how difficult was it for you after you retired to get back to your normal life?
It was hard. The first it took me a while to decide whether I was going to retire or not. That spring, during spring training, the guys were over there practicing and getting ready for the season. I kind of felt guilty that I wasn't there. So it was a difficult transition. It took, maybe a year and a half. And then, I was lucky enough that the Red Sox ownership group, especially Tom Werner, asked me to go to work for them and be an analyst on NESN. And it was almost like I jumped right back into the grind of being around the team and covering them and being able to share my experiences with fans like you that, watch us on the air. So it was difficult the first year. After that, it was I got back into the swing of being, an analyst. But people always ask me, do I miss it? And I have to say, the only thing I miss about being a player was the camaraderie with the guys and the competition. I don't miss the daily grind. These guys, they play 162 games in 180 days, and they're busy traveling, and people think that they get to the park at maybe 5 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game, and those guys are there like maybe 1:30, getting their workouts done, lifted weights, getting prepared for the game, and going through their routines. So it's a pretty long grind during the course of the year.
Thank you, Tim. Rick, you're up next, sir.
Hey, how you doing? Adam, Tim, thanks a lot. Could listen to you
Thank
guys.
you.
Could listen to you guys talk forever. I'm also glad to say that I'm probably not the only one that falls in this category, but listening to you talk about 2004 and the 4 championships, I go back to 67 when we lost in 7 to the Cardinals, and actually as a kid in parochial school watching and listening with all the nuns. And then we go to 75, we go to 86. So not only thanks for being here, but thanks for the championships and breaking the curse and all those wonderful things that come with a career with the Boston Red Sox. So I guess I admire you so much, Tim, because of, 17 years in the bigs. and you came in like a ball of fire with Pittsburgh. And you had a career, I guess, very typical of a knuckleball. The first thing I did was I went and I watched the documentary Knuckleballer just to kind of get caught up on things because I've been away. And, so with all the ups and downs in your career, and, there have been many more ups, but those downs I know can be, they can be really challenging. Was there ever a time when you thought you were going to hang up your cleats because of being on one of those downswings? And thankfully you didn't. And what was it that convinced you not to hang them up?
That's a great question, and I appreciate you're asking that because it was a big thing when I do any kind of public speaking or anything like that. It's a very valuable lesson because baseball is a game of failures. To be a great hitter, you're going to fail 7 out of 10 times. And when I got to Boston, obviously I got released by Pittsburgh. That was one of the first times, that I thought I was going to not be able to play anymore because the drive from I got released in spring training. The drive from Bradenton back to my home in Melbourne, Florida, it's a 3-hour drive, and I'm by myself, and I'm thinking, all right, now what am I going to do? Go back and finish my degree in school? All those thoughts run through your head, thinking that it was, going to be the last part. But I was lucky enough to sign with Boston, and I got a chance to work with both Phil and Joe Niekro. And Phil gave me probably the best advice that I still carry with myself today, and I try to tell my kids this, is that you have to learn how to accept your losses without being defeated. Baseball, like I said, is a game of failures, and if you can have a short memory and just accept that, okay, I got beat today, but I'm not gonna let this defeat me. I'm gonna pick my head back up, and I'm gonna grind it out, and I'm gonna figure out what went wrong and fix it. So, that's something I try to tell young athletes, or like I said, my kids, or even adults, like that are our age, right? They're 50 and over. You run through stuff in life, that it can be very deflative, right? And it's just a matter of your attitude and how you handle it. You can say it's gonna defeat me, but I'm not gonna give up on it.
Thank you, Rick. We'll go to Luke. Hey, Luke.
Oh, sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
I got my assistants over here.
Right.
Some of you guys just took my thunder on the questions. One of the ones I have for you, since I have my wife next to me, and tell me a little bit about Bellhorn in 03 and what he meant in 03, 04 to that team.
Yeah, Mark Bellhorn was a very popular guy in our clubhouse, even though he wasn't a flashy type of player, but he was a very consistent type of player. Quiet, didn't say a whole lot, but man, was he locked in, especially in 03 with a homer. 04 with a homer that got us over the edge in game 1 against the Cardinals. He was a special guy. He was very solid defensively, offensively, and when he did speak, you definitely listened to him. That's for sure. I miss him. I hear he's a scratch golfer now.
That's something you can appreciate.
Yes, I can.
Wake, this just came to mind. I don't think I've even asked you this question before. We've worked together for a few years now.
Yeah.
What was it like in 05, after winning it in 04, and the expectations that were now attached to the Red Sox? Again, everybody always expected the Red Sox to be competitive, but after actually winning the thing,
right?
What was it like going into 05?
I felt great. Being able. My favorite memory of 05 is getting the rings in front of New York on opening day. Maybe was it opening day against them? Anyway, I think it was opening day. And I remember Mariano Rivera getting a standing ovation when he was announced. So that was pretty good. I actually pitched that day and we won the game. But the expectations were still going to be there, and even though we won in 04, it wasn't as heavy of an expectation that it was without winning it, right? If that makes any sense. But we got to the postseason, and unfortunately, we had some really bad bounces go our way against Chicago, who ended up winning the World Series in 05. But we had a similar team that we did in 04. We just, you need the breaks. Like I talk about, New York was a way better team than we were in 04, but we found a way to beat them in 4 straight. And then by, the Cardinal series, they had no chance. Our momentum was so strong going into that World Series that they had no chance. But the expectations are always going to be there no matter how many championships you won.
In 05, I mean, really, a lot of the starting staff that was there in 04 wasn't there in 05. I mean, Schilling was dealing with the injury, obviously.
He was hurt, yeah.
Matt Clement, who got off to a great start, obviously the unfortunate incident took place with him. He didn't have Pedro.
Right.
I mean, that was sort of an overhaul. You're bringing in these new guys. I mean, you were one of the stabilizing forces because you had been there.
Yeah, and the guys that we had added were fantastic, like you said, but it's just, Clement got hit in the head and he couldn't recover after that, and obviously the injury to Schilling really, I think, put a damper on everything. But we were able to get back to the postseason. I think, was Schilling trying to be a closer towards the end?
Yeah, yep.
I think so, yeah.
But then you know something about that, right? I mean, making that adjustment. I mean,
yeah, that's not an easy adjustment because you talk about expectations and pressure. Well, it's easy to give up a couple runs in the first couple innings and then settle down. You have no room for error as a closer. You make one mistake, game's over.
Yeah. It's funny. And I always feel like this is sort of generally how it is. When you talk about the Red Sox and their success this century, right? The 4 World Series titles, we always talk about 04, right? 04 is the pinnacle for most people.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? I would say for most of them. You have 13. 13 came out of nowhere. Right, 13 sort of came out of nowhere after finishing last place, 12, and what happened 11, and then in 18, this team was just a wagon, right? I mean, they just sailing right through the postseason when you really look back at it.
Yeah.
People forget about 07. People sort of, I think, when you talk about it, I think people forget about 07, and that run featured a comeback as well against the Indians down 3-1 in the ALCS.
Yeah, the guy that put the world on his shoulders was Josh Beckett. I mean, they tried to mess with him. He brought his ex-girlfriend in to sing the national anthem in Cleveland, all that good stuff. And it was crazy. He's like, he was like, bring it on. Like, I've been in this situation before, obviously, with the Marlins beating the Yankees, and I forgot what year that was, 03.
03, yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be us against the Marlins, but it was the Yankees, and, he threw that complete game in the last game to win the World Series. Man,
let me ask you this, Wake. You bring up the Marlins in 03, and you guys would have, right? How do you think you would have matched up against that Marlins team?
I think we matched up better with them. I talked to Josh when they were in the clubhouse watching. They wanted to play New York more than they wanted to play us. They felt like they had a better chance against New York than us, and they didn't want to face us for some reason.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
That back to the 07 team for a minute. That sort of saw the emergence of some of the newer blood, right? With Jonathan
Pedroia,
John Lester, Dustin Pedroia. Sort of those guys.
Ellsbury.
Right, Jacoby Ellsbury.
Yeah.
What was it like? Because again, you've been with the Red Sox organization for so long, and you played with so many great players over the years, and then you're introducing this new crop of talent. What was it like transitioning?
It was fun teaching the younger guys what it was like, because now we had a championship under our belt, right? We've been there before, so they didn't get to experience what it was like to get booed off the field, for not winning, right? So it was fun to be able to be a mentor, so to speak, or I think I was the heavy on the team because I was always on the young guys constantly. But to be able to share our experiences with them, and Mike Lowell was there. He's a veteran that we had gotten from the Marlins, and Josh Beckett had gotten over there. I think that was the year before that they came over. It was just nice that those guys stepped up to the plate. I mean, John Lester just battled cancer through the course of that year, and he gets a start in the World Series against Colorado. Did fantastic. I mean, Josh Beckett was great in the series against Cleveland. Pedroia was Rookie of the Year that year. We had Ellsbury that got called up later in the year that just shined for us in the World Series against Colorado. It was just a blessing for all of us to be. We just created a new group. We had some veterans like me and Timlin and Mirabelli and Tech were still around. Schilling was still there too. But man, it's same vibe of 04, but with a younger core that was coming up.
I love the Dustin Pedroia story from the 07 World Series in Colorado where the security guard would let him in.
Yeah.
And he said, what did he say? Ask Jeff Francis who I am?
Yes. Pedroia had some of the most unbelievable sayings. Like, I remember he came in after he hit a rocket off of Randy Johnson, and he said, 95 mile an hours in, 105 mile an hours out.
It's and of course his career just came to a close, and unfortunately the last few years were plagued by the knee injury. And but what was he like? I mean, he was a very, we'll call him confident player right from Jump Street, right?
From Jump Street, yeah. He didn't care if it had 2 weeks in the big leagues. He was very confident in himself to do what he needed to do, right? And he came from Arizona State, right? I think.
Yeah.
Arizona State, yeah.
Yep.
Listen, this guy, he was a shortstop, and and if you remember his rookie season, he was going to get sent back down because he wasn't hitting. Alex Cora was going to be the everyday second baseman.
Yep.
And
he was getting some heat. He was getting some heat.
He was, and then something clicked for him, and he turned it around. Becomes Rookie of the Year, and the confidence just flew through the roof after that. It was just an amazing transition to see. He became a leader of that team. After I left, and a lot of the veterans, he became the guy. He and David Ortiz became kind of the captains of the team, and he was that rah-rah type of guy that you saw on the field, off the field as well.
All right, let's get to some more questions from you guys. Let's go with Steve Areno. Is this Steve Areno? All right.
Hey guys, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. Thank you to my wonderful daughter for nominating me. Tim, love listening to you on NESN. That's a whole second career, right? That you had to learn how to do from scratch in front of millions of people every day. Tell us a little bit about what that was like and what the hardest parts were and what the biggest adjustments were. I mean, you basically started over.
I did, and it's a great question. I was nervous. Tom Warner asked me to do it in 2012, and I said, Tom, I just got done being the busiest person for the last 25 years of my life, so I just wanted to enjoy a summer where I could hang out with my family and do things that I'd never done before up here in Boston. And then I took over. I did a couple of games. I wanted to dabble, put my feet in the pool and see how hot or cold it was. And hanging around Eck and TC and trying to figure out what it was going to be like was hard. I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. And it's the thing I told myself is, like, when I got into this, is don't forget how hard the game really is. Because as a fan or as an ex-athlete, the further away you get from the game, the easier it seems, right? And people don't really realize that. So that's one thing that I really tried to tell myself. I have to tell the truth, which is hard sometimes, but I had to try to figure out, and talking to the guys that have been around for a while, Jim Rice, and Eck and Remy, is like there's a way to say it without being too critical on the player, because that's the one thing that I was definitely afraid of, is being that guy that forgot how hard it really was for me.
And you offer that perspective, and that's what you bring to the table as a former player. You don't mudsling, you analyze, and that's what we do on the pre and post game show. So, how long have you been with us now?
2012 was my first year, so this is going on my 10th season.
Yeah, you and I got there the same year, actually.
Same year, that's right.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Justin now.
I apologize. My wife signed me up for this. We're in Disney World with kids right now. So
nice. That's awesome.
We only did that because I appreciate everything that you've done, Tim, for the organization. You always handled yourself right. From starting, pitching out of the bullpen, to closing. I appreciated you. So basically, I only wanted to come around to tell you that. I didn't want to, bring in my vacation into this, but I just wanted. I appreciate you. That's all I got. They're running around like madmen right now, but I just want to stop in and say hi.
Well, I greatly appreciate it. It means a lot that that's all you wanted to say, and I really appreciate that. I don't want to keep you from your family. Disney World's an awesome experience. You've been there before, right?
Yeah, I know, first time.
First time. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for jumping on the Zoom.
This Wild Ride's probably on fire right now, so I gotta go track him down. Thanks again. I appreciate you very much.
No,
thank you.
I appreciate you as well, and go enjoy your family and your vacation.
Take care.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Thanks. Happy Father's Day.
Thanks, Justin.
That's so
Tell
funny.
you what, man, you mean a lot to people. They're right in the middle of the family vacation, Disney
Yeah,
World.
I know.
I gotta jump on this call and say hi to you. That's crazy.
It's crazy because I don't feel like I'm that guy, right? I just feel like I was very fortunate to play a game for as long as I did and try to give back the best I can.
Let's go to John Dunn now. John's got a question. Hi, John. John, you there?
He's on mute. Mute.
Okay. Take yourself off mute if you can, John. Okay. All right. I'm gonna circle back. Let's go to Dan Tower.
Hey, thank you. Wake, gotta say, huge fan, man.
Thank you.
Followed you for a long time. You're one of my favorite players as I watched the team. Actually, I was at Fenway Park when they announced when you made the All-Star game with my wife.
Oh.
We heard that. It was great. The ovation was awesome.
Thank you.
Well deserved. But this means a lot. Like I said, watching all the heartbreak before 2004 and after that, it's been great. One question I did have is you've talked about, the challenges of throwing the knuckleball. Who was the one hitter who you had either the most success against you, or the one hitter you enjoyed facing the most?
Wow, that's a great question because I think we did a segment on Nesson on this about who my top 5 guys were, and I started research. I mean, off the top of my head, I said like Aaron Rowan. I remember was really good. Maglio Ordonez was really good off me. And then I started doing some more research, and I totally had forgotten about Nelson Cruz, who I don't think I got out. I think he was 6 for 6 off me with 2 homers.
Still playing.
Yeah, he's still playing. Vladimir Guerrero, I forgot about him, and now we have a legacy with his son playing for the Toronto Blue Jays. There was a handful of guys that just had the knack to hit a knuckleball, and it was kind of scary, facing those guys. But Tech came to me. I was talking about the Aaron Rowan and the Maglio Ordonez. I would never ever look at my statistics like, batting average against. I'm a one-pitch pitcher. I'm going to go out. I'm never going to change my approach. I'm going to try to get you out with a knuckleball. And Tex finally said, he said, "Hey, have you looked at the numbers these guys have against you?" I'm like, "No. Why should I care?" He's like, "You might need to make a change and start throwing more fastballs and curveballs." And I was like, "There's no way I could do that." And then he convinced me to do it, and Mirabelli got with him, and we started doing it. And then I started getting them out. Not like every single time, but I had more success against them because they were sitting knuckleball.
Thank you, Dan. Let's go to William
Thanks.
Wood. William Wood.
Save the best for last.
Here we go. Sorry about that.
There you go.
It says Jackie because that's my wife's name. Actually, I just prefer to go by Woody. Tim,
Woody.
thanks a lot for doing this, and for the Red Sox
Thanks.
organization for doing it. I feel a little bit like Mirabelli, changing on the fly here. I'm writing down new questions as my list gets wiped out. And I thought I was Dan Tower just asked questions. I looked at my wife. There was another one. So I'm adding to the list all the time. Tim, you might appreciate that with a name starts with Wakefield, Wood. I know we're not going alphabetically today, but Wood, as you're at the end of the alphabet, you find yourself in the last row of the last guy standing.
Exactly. I know what it feels like.
But at any rate, the question I've got right now today is, did you have, other than Fenway Park, did you have a favorite park/mound that you threw off of?
I'm going to say, first of all, I'm going to say New York, because of the electricity and the rivalry that we had with those guys. It was a special place to pitch. I loved the heightened anxiety and the pressure. I really enjoyed pitching against those guys, and I was pretty successful against them. Secondly, a knuckleball really works good in a dome. So Tampa probably I had the most success. I pitched really well in Tampa. I don't know what it was. I call it controlled chaos, because the ball moved everywhere, but I was able to throw it for strikes. And then my worst ballpark, to back up your question, was Texas. I could not control it. So this is an outdoor stadium where the wind swirled so badly behind home plate that I threw nasty knuckleballs, but I just couldn't throw it for strikes, and I really struggled in Texas. But Tampa was my most successful, but it wasn't like pitching in New York.
Thanks, Woody.
Thanks, Woody.
All right, let's go to Tim Kerner.
Another Tim, I like it.
Hey Tim, thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
really appreciate it. I mean, great career, and just basically, just thank you for everything that you've done for the Red Sox, representing just the Red Sox and everybody in the region. I mean, all of us fans just loved you and support you, and there was probably nobody more deserving of winning that ring in 04 than you. So just want to
thank you so much. I agree. I really appreciate that. It means the world to me. It really does. Thank you.
I guess my question, go back to 1995 when you came here, and just what was the difference coming from Pittsburgh and coming into this market, and that team turned out to be a really good team, win the AL East, and just what was the difference in fandom and passion and everything here in the region?
Yeah, it was different. Obviously, I mean, Pittsburgh's a great city as well. I enjoyed playing for them for the amount of time that I did, but nothing beats the compassion that the Red Sox fan had, and I knew that coming in. My college roommate was from Connecticut, who was a huge Red Sox fan, and I went through the whole '86 thing with him. He destroyed a lot of our furniture in our apartment because of that, but I had an idea of what it was going to be like when I signed with Boston and came over here. But yeah, the guy that really got me to where I was back then was Phil Niekro. I got released by Pittsburgh. Dan Duquette called me and said, "Hey, we want to sign you." Both Phil and Joe Niekro are working with they were working with a women's baseball team at the time down at Fort Myers, where our spring training facility was, and it was a great opportunity for me to go down there and work with two legends that knew everything there was about a knuckleball, and it was Phil that really got my confidence back, because I just come off a 5 and 15 year in AAA with the Pirates AAA team in Buffalo, New York, and I didn't know if I was going to have a job. And those guys really turned it around for me. When I got called up to the big leagues with Boston, I went on this incredible run that I will never ever forget. I won my first 4, lost, and then won 10 in a row, and I was 14-1 at one point, and I ended up finished third in the Cy Young that year. So I attribute everything to Phil and the rest of my career in Boston.
All right, let's go to Brian Harrington.
Hey Tim, unlike
Hey,
you,
Brian.
I'm going to give you a meatball pitch here to swing at. What was your most memorable strikeout of your career?
Wow. And you probably know it, and I don't. I'm trying to think of it. It's got to be the Ruben Sierra strikeout in the playoffs. You're coming out of the bullpen. Tech was catching me. Got runners on second and third, extra inning game. It's almost midnight. and we get to strike out Ruben Sierra to end the inning. And it's funny story is Tech and I had talked about that, not too long ago. And I thought that was the last inning. I thought David gets the big hit in the bottom of that inning. And we looked it up and we realized we actually played, that was in the 12th, I think. And we actually played the 13th inning. I pitched a 1-2-3 inning. I don't remember that. I only remember striking out Ruben Sierra.
Well, Jack, I see Jack's back with us. Jack Dunn, you can ask a question to Tim. That Jack?
We're having technical difficulties with his Wi-Fi, maybe.
I think so. All right. Well, I think we're probably going to move on. So this is so we get to hear from all of you dads, right, that were nominated, and we have to hear from one of the hello, Jack, is that you? Yeah, having some difficulty there. I'm sorry, Jack. Anyway, somebody nominated all of you, right? You each had somebody nominate you guys for this Father's Day talk. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring on one of the people that nominated one of you guys. We're going to hear from Gwen Burke. Is Gwen on?
I sure am.
Hi, Gwen.
Hi.
Gwen.
You have a question?
Sure. So, first of all, thank you for letting me join. I nominated my dad, Steve Areno. I grew up, I'm a Red Sox fan because in 2004, that's how I got to avoid bedtime. Is I got to, just one more inning, Dad. And then in high school West Coast games, I would bake cookies to, stay up and watch as much as I can. So grateful to be here and grateful for my dad. But Tim, I guess I want to ask a little bit about, you've talked about Doug Mirabelli, you've talked about the different catchers you've worked with. What is the benefit, I guess, of having that one-on-one with being a knuckleballer? How does that kind of help your mindset? What was kind of the change with having that kind of special guy?
Yeah, it actually came out of accident because Tech was our everyday guy, and we traded for Mirabelli. We got him from the San Francisco Giants, I think, and he was going to be just a backup. Yeah. And Tito wanted to give Tech, a day off, in instead of catching 6 days in a row, it actually ended up working better. He could catch 4, and then not only take a physical day off when I pitched, but also a mental break when I pitched. And Doug was so instrumental in our success together as a team because we kind of bonded together, and he would catch all my bullpen sides. He'd play catch with me, in between starts. He really worked hard at it, to build this comfortable atmosphere for both of us. I trusted him. I trusted in his game calling. I trusted everything about when he was back there. He had a sense of when to throw my fastball, when to throw my curveball, and we just had fun with it. There would be times where he wouldn't even give a signal. He'd just give me the head nod, like, come on, just you know what I want, just bring the knuckleball. And we had a lot of fun and built a really, really good relationship together. But he became who he was because Tech needed a day off, and he took full advantage of it, and he really busted his tail to be the best there was at catching a knuckleball.
Thank you, Gwen.
Thanks, Gwen.
Try Jack one more time. Maybe the third time's the charm with Jack. Going once. Going twice. All right. Let me see here.
Did he text you?
No, he didn't text me. But, all right. How about this? I see one of his questions. I'll ask it for him since we're
okay.
All right. You pitched as a starter and a reliever. Did you have a different mindset or preference between the two?
I liked being a starter because I had 4 days to think about what I was going to do and prepare for it.
And you're like, yeah.
Oh, I can sorry. No worries. I think you're kind of breaking up, but Adam did ask a question.
Yeah, I asked your question.
You can hear us. So we were talking about whether I liked starting or relieving, or if there was a different mindset. So I was saying being a starter was easier because I had 4 days off in between starts. But the bad thing about being a starter is if you had a bad outing, you had to sit on it for the next 4 days. That was the hard part. Being a reliever, I enjoyed that as well, but I had to be mentally prepared every single day. And the first couple times I was in the bullpen, I actually was a closer, and I shared duties with Derek Lowe because Tom Gordon Flash was our closer, and he got hurt. So that was a lot of fun in coming into pressure situations. I remember, I want to say it was in Kansas City, I struck out 4 in 1 inning, but I blew a save because I went strikeout, pass ball, home run to tie the game, and then struck out the 4th guy in that inning. So it's just one of those odd anomalies that happens in baseball that happened to me. But I don't know. I enjoyed both. As a reliever, I enjoyed it in certain situations. I didn't like being the mop-up guy, the Ryan Webbers of the world. Even though what he did the other night actually saved the bullpen and allowed them to win on Monday night. But that's a hard job to have, knowing that you're only out there to protect against overusage of the bullpen or to pick up a starter that can't go more than 2 or 3 innings. So that was the only bad part of the leaving that I didn't like.
I'll tell you, Wake, you did that in Game 3 of the World Series in 04, right? You saved the bullpen, and that ended up being huge. So that's not to be overlooked. But that does conclude our Father's Day talk. Wake, do you want to say any last words before we go?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much from all of you dads and a daughter for the questions, and thank you for being on this Zoom call. I just want to wish everybody a happy Father's Day tomorrow. I hope it's a blessed day. I hope you get to spend it with the ones that you love, and hopefully I'll see you around Fenway Park towards the end of this season.
Yep, happy Father's Day to everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And remember, Red Sox pregame coverage starts at 3 o'clock today, Game 2 of the series.
Yes.
Me, Wake, and Jim Rice have you covered, so hope to see you guys then. Okay? Take care.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.